Hey, how y'all doing? How you feeling? This is your girl Tysheen, and I'm back with another video. Yes, another video. This one is average American versus average Europeans. Okay, this is your average, everyday average people. Okay, and how do they compare? Well, I guess it's gonna be a long list because we're a little different over here, of course. But yeah, stuff that I watch and read, we're totally different. Okay, y'all do things totally different over there, and we do things different over here. So let's just get straight to the video.
The United States of America was officially formed on July 4th, 1776, when 13 states declared their independence from the Kingdom of Great Britain. This was centuries after this region, which was part of what was then called the New World, was officially discovered by Italian explorer Christopher Columbus. In the centuries that followed, European settlers would arrive in droves, with many of the first expeditions arriving from Spain, but later from France, Germany, Holland, Scotland, and England, among other European nations claiming some slice of the American pie. Today, many US citizens have European ancestry, while not necessarily sharing much in common with their long-lost kin. Thomas Jefferson may have once famously written in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, but we thought it would be fun to see how equal, in some respects at least, the modern US citizen is now with the modern EU citizen in this episode of the Infographics show, the average American versus the average European. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. First of all, to give us some idea of how much European there is flowing through the American bloodstream, let's take a look at America's largest European ancestry groups. According to the Census Bureau, approximately 49 million Americans said they had German ancestry, 36 million Irish ancestry, 27 million English ancestry, 18 million Italian ancestry, 10 million Polish ancestry, 9 million French, 6 million Scottish, 5 million Scotch-Irish, 5 million Dutch, 4 million Swedish, and 3 million Russian. Other large groups include Welsh, Czech, Hungarian, Portuguese, Danish, and Greek, while many people were also described as mixed ancestry. With this Euro connection in mind, how much does the average American have in common with the average EU citizen? Let's start with some basics. The median age, meaning that half the population is younger and half the population is older, is 42.7 in the EU and 37.9 in the US. Life expectancy in the EU is 82.4 years for women and 76.6 years for men. American women on average will live to 81.94 years, and American men 77.11. When it comes to making babies, American women are slightly more active, with the average number of births per woman being 1.84, and European women giving birth to an average of 1.58 children. Just to clarify here, this doesn't mean women are miraculously bearing partial 0.58 humans, rather it's just an average taken from the female population and the number of births. Let's now look at some physical attributes. The average height for an American man is 5 foot 9.5 inches, while collective data for the entire EU is hard to come by. Europe, however, has some of the tallest people in the world, with the Dutch coming in at an average height of 6 feet for men. Dutch women
I kind of knew this one already. I knew this one.
Are also at the top with an average height of nearly 5 foot 7 inches, whereas American women on average are 5 foot 4 inches tall. In fact, most member countries of the EU have a greater average height than that of Americans. That cannot be said about body weight, with America regularly coming in the top 5 countries in the world for average weight. The average male in the US weighs 194.7 pounds and the average female 165 pounds. The UK has the heaviest people in Europe at 185 pounds for men and 152 pounds for women. This is about the same as the land of giants, Holland, even though the average UK nationals are much shorter. Now that we've looked at mortality and the body, let's delve into money matters. Americans are generally thought to be a hardworking bunch of people, culturally ambitious, and with a penchant for wanting to come first. This might be reflected by the fact that the USA has the most billionaires in the entire world at 565, one of whom, Microsoft's co-founder Bill Gates, being the richest of them all with a fortune of around $87 billion. By comparison, the EU is home to 489 billionaires, with the richest being Spanish business magnate Amancio Ortega, who is worth around $85.8 billion. But what about the average Joe among us? According to polls, the median gross wage for workers in the US per household was $43,585 per year, which is the 6th highest in the world. The highest median gross wage in the world per household was Luxembourg at $52,493 per year, with 2 other EU nations also above the US in Sweden and Denmark. In terms of income tax paid, the US is Below many EU member countries, the average income tax paid in the US is 22.7% of earnings, with the highest country in the world being EU member Belgium at a whopping 42.8%.
Wait, what? This is... Look at that, Belgium. 42.8%? That's almost half. Whoa.
How does this affect the quality of life? Standard of living is a difficult thing to judge, and wherever you look, lists will differ. For example, the USA's gross national income, the spending power of the individual, is only behind the EU country of Luxembourg. Standard of living is another matter. Again, lists differ, but almost always the best standard of living top 10 countries is dominated by EU countries and other European nations, with Canada, New Zealand, and Australia also in the running. EU countries also ranked highly on the World Happiness Report 2017, with 5 EU member states being in front of 14th placed America. Many of these countries also rank highly regarding a very expensive cost of living, which may seem confusing given they are reportedly so happy. Some factors may help explain this. The highest healthcare costs in the world go to, you guessed it, the United States. Americans also work very hard for a highly developed country. It's stated that the USA is in 13th place in terms of working the most hours, and while some EU members are above the US, there are poorer EU members that rank low on standard of living and happiness indexes. Taking paid annual leave into account, the EU states by law that each worker should have at least 4 weeks of paid vacation, while there is no such law in the US and the decision is left to the employer. The average is around 10 days per year in the US, far lower than in the EU. The average paid vacation time in the US after
This is sad. This is so sad.
20 years service at one company is 20 days. Many EU countries also have more or the same public holidays as Americans enjoy. The US is also a fairly expensive place to receive a university education, with a report in 2015 stating that the average student debt in America was $29,000. Still, this was much lower than England, whose students will owe almost double that amount after graduation. EU countries such as France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Belgium, and the Czech Republic have...
Wait, the UK is more? Whoa.
very small tuition fees, while in Denmark, Sweden, and Finland, university is
Little
free.
to none.
The US,
Free.
however, has a lower household debt to GDP than many Euro nations, including big borrowers, Denmark, the Netherlands, Britain, and Sweden. A 2017 report puts the USA in 10th place for household debt to GDP. So, what do these countries get for their money? Well, Americans enjoy living in much bigger houses on average than any country in the EU, with the average house size being around 2,000 square feet, second only to Australia, according to a 2015 report. Denmark has the biggest houses in the EU at around an average of 1,500 square feet per house, while the UK is only around 800 square feet on average. Americans also have more motor vehicles per person, being the third biggest vehicle owners in the world, according to a 2014 report. With 797 vehicles per 1,000 people, excluding two-wheelers, only Luxembourg comes close to the US, and most EU countries are far behind. Where else does the money go? Well, quite a lot on entertaining oneself. Whether drowning tears or living la vida loca, a lot of money earned is spent on alcohol. The Europeans are easily the world's most formidable drinkers, with Eastern Europe topping the charts of alcohol consumption per capita in the world, and almost all EU countries drinking more than the USA, except for Italy and Sweden. Eastern Europe is also the cheapest place to drink, with Slovakia and the Czech Republic selling beers at an average of $1.50 from bar to supermarket, compared to a US average of more than double that. Finally, let's talk about love. In many EU countries, marriage rates have fallen dramatically, but this has to some extent become a global phenomenon. The average age of men and women in the US getting married is 29 and 27 respectively, which is considerably lower than just about all countries in the EU, whose couples often wait until well after 30. In the US in 2015, a report states that 6.8 per 1,000 people tied the knot, which was considerably higher than most European countries, with the EU average at 4.5 in 2015. The divorce rate that year in the EU was 2.0, almost half of the marriage rate. The US had a similar rate of marriage to divorce at 3.6. If not marrying, people haven't stopped sleeping with each other, but the Europeans, according to a survey by Durex, are doing it a lot more. The survey stated that the most sexually satisfied countries in the EU were Spain, Italy, Greece, the Netherlands, and Germany, with the USA data showing a low rate of satisfaction compared to most EU countries. As for first-timers, only the EU countries of Britain, Austria, Germany, and Czech Republic have a younger age in which people lose their virginity, with the USA being a fraction higher than those countries at age 18.4. On the topic of love, we come to the end of today's
There you go. There you go. Some of these I'm not really surprised. I kind of knew some of them already. especially the cost of living and the pay and vacation. Yeah, I kind of knew those already, and healthcare. Those I knew already, but it just shows you the stuff that we do here sucks. But other than that, that's just basically to show you the difference between here and Europe. Yeah. So comment below. Let me know if you agree with him. If there's anything else you would like to add onto this this list. Let me know down below. I don't even know what to say. But anyway, I'll see you lovely people. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and yeah, and check these videos out. And I will see you lovely people. Take care.